watching Big Lou Barbecue. That thing's I want to do, and today I want to show off something kind of cool. I've been cooking a lot of jambalaya lately, and I've got two, in the past year, I've acquired two 5-gallon cast iron jambalaya pots. One is actually a flat bottom Dutch oven. You can see the video to that right here where I review it. And the other is, of course, a round bottom 5-gallon jambalaya pot I got last spring. Absolutely love having it. But the thing is cast iron, and I have no problem seasoning cast iron. I'm a cast iron aficionado. I like using cast iron, and I like using cast iron to cook rice. That's how I cook rice. All right, you get it, you boil the rice for 5 minutes, and you turn the cast iron off. You turn its pot off, whatever size of rice I'm doing, you know, you just turn it off and let it sit there. And 25 minutes later, the rice is all fluffy and everything because cast iron holds its heat real well. It takes a while for it to cool down. It takes a while for it to heat up, but it takes a while for it to cool down. All right, but it's heavy. A round bottom cast iron pot I have weighs 38 pounds. I think my Dutch oven might weigh more because it's got a cast iron lid. All right, and those things are heavy. All right, so I went by Cajun Classic the other day, and I was offered a chance to get this last year, but I went by and purchased this. All right, this is their rather new, they've had it for a little over a year now, aluminum jambalaya pot. Now that's anodized aluminum. It's not reactive aluminum, okay? It's not like the old Magnalite stuff that Macware produces nowadays, which is also a Cajun Classic type thing where they're aluminum line. This is actually anodized aluminum, and it says Cajun Classic on it, not Macware. All right, but check it out. That's it. It's patterned after the 38 pound 5-gallon jambalaya pot. It looks a lot like it, only the legs are a little shorter, but it has these little doodads here. I guess I could make them longer or something in the bottom of the legs, but this thing, one-handed, easy. Toss it up like that, all right? I mean, it's only, they say it weighs less than 10 pounds. It's got a lid on it. Now I need to put the lid together. Got the little bracket right here. That bracket fits under there so that it can, you know, look at that, one hand, sit up on the edge like that. It does fit the 5-gallon jambalaya pot stand that I have, but I've got one of those more like turkey tape burners, one of those high pressure burners under there. And because aluminum heats up so fast, it doesn't need all that high heat. I'm probably going to cook it on my Eastman Kahuna stand is probably what I'm going to use this jambalaya pot for. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jambalaya is supposed to be in a cast iron pot, like paella is supposed to be in a shallow steel pan. Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. If I'm making a Creole jambalaya, like inside, Creole jambalaya is that tomato jambalaya. I grew up near New Orleans, and I grew up eating Creole jambalaya, but it's not my favorite. Brown jambalaya, Cajun style jambalaya, without tomatoes in it, it's my favorite, which is the most popular in Louisiana. But if I make that New Orleans style Creole tomato jambalaya, during the summer when I have tomatoes or something, I usually use an enameled pot on my stove. I don't usually make a big batch of it. But because this is anodized aluminum, I wouldn't have any problem using a tomato dish in there. Anodized aluminum is not supposed to leak aluminum or react with foods when it's been anodized. I know a lot of people are iffy about aluminum cookware. I was for a long time. I'm not as iffy about it as I used to be. I've done a lot more research and looked at more studies on it. But anodized aluminum is pretty cool. It's not going to react. It's not going to give any aluminum flavor to foods. I could cook tomato foods in there. I could cook sauce pecan in here. I could cook, you know, a gumbo in it or something. And hey, 10 pounds. Look, y'all. It says Cajun Classic right there. All right, it says Cajun Classic right there. These handles, they fold out. And it's it looks like cast aluminum to me, you know. A lot of aluminum cookware is stamped aluminum. You know, take aluminum sheets and they stamp it into shape. But you know, that Macware line and the old Magnalite line and stuff was cast aluminum, where they make a mold and pour molten aluminum into it. So this certainly appears to be cast aluminum to me, all right? I don't see how you'd stamp stuff like that. You cast it like that. Anyway, and then it's anodized, which they stick it in an electrolysis tank and get that anodized coating on there with the reactive to it. And then it's going to be non-reactive with foods. And a lot of anodized cookware, they put a non-stick surface in there. There's not a non-stick surface here, all right? And it's a little rough right there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and wash it off with soap and everything. Might put a little coat of oil on the cooking surface side. And let's cook some jambalaya. I won't show you the recipe for the jambalaya. I've got recent jambalaya videos, and I've got a ton of jambalaya videos, but I've got one cooking in the cast iron one, round bottom one, and one cooking in the cast iron flat bottom one. Pretty much going to be the same thing. I'm going to have pork, chicken. I'm using smoked sausage instead of a tasso this time, and just going to make the jambalaya, show you how well it works. The thing is, I like to turn the rice off. After I boil it for 5 minutes, I like to turn it off and let the heat hold in there. I'm worried about if that's going to work with aluminum, and if I'm just going to have to leave it at a simmer to get that rice to cook. So let's find out. Thanks for watching Big Lou Barbecue. Cajun Classic, lightweight, aluminum, round bottom, 5-gallon jambalaya pot. I'm going to love this thing.
Well, since this aluminum pot only weighs about 10 pounds, I felt no qualms about putting it on my lightweight portable burner. Look at that paddle. Cajun Classic gave me a Big Lou barbecue paddle, and I tell you what, it works well to make jambalaya. Now that's some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. That's 6 or 8 of them there. Browning those up on the bottom is a brand new pot, so they did stick a little bit, but it all worked out real well. Season it up, get that chicken browned, and I was getting nervous about it, but you know what? It didn't stick too bad, and it left a little bit of fond on the pot. You want that for jambalaya. That's pork stew meat right there. Usually I cut up a pork butt, but the stew meat was on sale, so browned up and seasoned up the stew meat, and got it all browned up. Get it out of the pot, and time to brown up that smoked sausage. This was a smoked sausage I was trying out. It was pretty good too. Gave a good smoky flavor to this jambalaya. Get the sausage all browned up, and we got to get it out of the pot. Now, once we get it out of the pot, we get the Trinity in the pot. Trinity is celery, onion, and bell peppers. And the key to a good jambalaya is getting those onions caramelized real brown, but not burned. Get the pork stock in there, get the water in there, get it all seasoned up with the seasonings and Worcestershire sauce. Got some garlic in there, and then put the meat in there, the rice in there, and then put the chicken back in there. And now, since it's parboiled rice, I stir it. I cook it for 5 minutes, boil it for 5 minutes while I stir it. If it was white rice, I would not be stirring it at this stage. But if I'm making a big jambalaya, like I'd say 2 gallons or more, I use parboiled rice so I can stir it as it cooks, and it mixes better that way. Once you've been stirring it for 5 minutes, you can see the rice is starting to get thick there and absorb all that water. It's time to cover it up and just turn the burner off and let it sit for 25 minutes. Now, a cast iron pot, the rice is going to cook because that cast iron is going to hold the heat. I was worried, will this aluminum hold the heat? I was testing it right there, and it was still pretty hot, and those handles were really hot too. But after about 25 minutes, it was time to take a look at it, and I could tell that the pot was still hot, and this is 25 minutes later. Voila! That jambalaya looks good. Yes, it does. Test the rice. The rice is soft, and dig down in there, and it's fluffy. There's no residual pockets of liquid or anything that hasn't been absorbed by the rice. Everything tastes good down there, and now was real pleased with this aluminum jambalaya pot. Now, the other day I cooked for a banquet. I did 10 gallons, 5 in the cast iron pot in the foreground and the aluminum pot in the background there, and I could tell no discernible difference in the jambalayas. Just look how good that is. I've cooked jambalaya in this thing several times since making this video, and it's all been real good. Pleased with this pot. Gracias por mirar.